Robert Hale, a man who tried to become a dog, not as a joke, not as a costume, but as a permanent surgical transformation. Robert wasn't socially active. He worked from home, didn't date much, and rarely spoke to neighbors. But he wasn't unhappy. His entire emotional world revolved around one creature, his 12-year-old Labrador, Lucy. Robert and Lucy were inseparable. He took her on morning walks, fed her home-cooked meals, and celebrated her birthdays. His co-workers joked that Lucy was his only friend, and Robert never denied it. Then, in late 2019, Lucy developed kidney failure. The vet said she had weeks left. Robert spent every one of those nights on the floor beside her. When she finally died, Robert's life collapsed with her. He stopped eating properly, stopped showering, stopped responding to emails. He didn't leave the house for nearly 10 days. Neighbors later described him as vacant, confused, and unable to process anything. On the 11th day after Lucy's death, Robert brought home a new puppy, a yellow lab, just like Lucy had been as a baby. He named her Sunny. At first, everything seemed normal. Sunny kept the house noisy again. Robert looked healthier. He started walking outside and seemed almost stable. But friends noticed something unusual. Robert wasn't treating Sunny like a new dog. He was treating her like Lucy reborn. He spoke to her using the same specific commands Lucy responded to. He placed her bed in the exact same spot. He recreated the same routine, down to the same meal times, same bowls, same toys. This wasn't coping. It was replication. And then Robert's behavior escalated. He began imitating dog behavior, sleeping on the floor next to Sunny, crawling behind her on all fours, eating at the same time as her, sitting beside her bowl. One neighbor later reported hearing odd barking sounds from Robert's home at night. Robert started researching canine anatomy obsessively. His browser history, later recovered by investigators, contained searches like facial reconstruction to look like animal, muzzle implants possibilities, illegal plastic surgeons underground, reverse rhinoplasty dog shape. He joined unregulated online forums where people discussed body modification surgeries that traditional hospitals refused to perform. On one of these forums, he made contact with a group of underground surgeons located in another state. These individuals had no medical licenses, but were known for performing extreme cosmetic procedures for cash. What they offered Robert was dangerous, irreversible, and illegal, but he agreed without hesitation. To raise the money, he sold almost everything he owned: his car, his electronics, old collectibles, even Lucy's medical equipment. Within 5 weeks, he had enough. The operation took place in a basement beneath a rented property. The room had a steel operating table, basic surgical tools, and a few industrial lamps. Nothing sterile, nothing approved. The surgeons reshaped Robert's face using crude techniques, breaking and repositioning nasal bones toward a canine angle, stretching skin and tissue to form a permanent extended snout, altering lip structure, narrowing the jawline, inserting rigid implants to mimic a muzzle shape. The surgery lasted nearly 8 hours. Robert remained conscious for parts of it because they lacked proper anesthesia. According to the surgeon's later statements, Robert didn't panic or resist. He seemed almost excited. After the procedure, they bandaged his face heavily and sent him home with basic painkillers. When Robert returned home, Sunny, the puppy he adored, ran to him out of habit, but she stopped abruptly. She stared at him from a distance, tail lowered, ears back. She recognized the scent, but not the face. When Robert bent down and called to her, his voice sounded distorted. Nasal structure can heavily affect vocal tone. Sunny whimpered and ran away into another room. Robert spent hours trying to comfort her, crawling around the house, attempting to engage with her the way he used to. But Sunny only hid deeper. He had expected a reunion. Instead, he had caused fear. That night, Robert walked outside for the first time since the operation. The few people who saw him crossed the street. One woman screamed. A man filmed him on his phone. Robert hadn't become dog-like. He had become a visibly disfigured human. And in that moment, he finally realized the truth. Neither humans nor animals accepted him anymore. Around 3 a.m., a traffic camera recorded Robert walking along a deserted road outside town. No shoes, no phone, just a jacket and the bandages around his face. At 5:42 a.m., a delivery driver found him lying motionless near a roadside ditch. There was no sign of an accident, no external injuries, and no evidence of foul play. Officials ruled his death as a combination of post-surgical shock, dehydration, and exposure to cold. Around his neck was a dog collar he had purchased years ago for Lucy. It had one engraved word, "Forever,"